Hello and good evening, you guys. Today it is Monday, March 8th, and unfortunately, I am a full day late doing this week's Rockzilla's Weekly Roundup podcast. Well, I guess last week's. But anyway, unfortunately, last night I was trying to upload the monthly channel update video that I did upload to the channel today. I tried to upload it about 7 or 8 times last night, and each time it kept taking like 20 plus minutes where it was saying processing and waiting, and it wasn't working. So after about the 7th or 8th time, I can't remember how many times I tried, but after a while I said, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to just go watch this movie that I had planned on watching anyway, and I'm going to try it again tomorrow, which is today as I'm filming this. But I did upload that today, and finally that's done. I'm going to film this video tonight, get it uploaded, and then that way I will be caught up on that type of stuff. Also, I actually want to take a few minutes in this video today to acknowledge multiple jersey leaks that were posted onto sportslogos.net in the past 24 hours as I'm filming this. So the reason I'm not going to be doing a separate video to discuss those leaks of multiple NFL jerseys, including the Bengals' new home and alternate orange jerseys, is because I like to save my videos for when the actual legitimate full entire uniform is unveiled. So since I'm not going to do a separate video about the leaks, what I will do instead is I will discuss them in this roundup video today. Then in the future, as each uniform is unveiled, if I ever get around to them, I will eventually sit down and share my thoughts on each uniform as it's unveiled, especially the Bengals, because they are getting new home, away, and alternates next season. Well, at least one new alternate. I'm not sure about two. Probably just the one. But since they're going with a new uniform style, I must say it sure would be nice if they had an 80s, 90s throwback on top of the 3 main uniforms they're going to be unveiling soon. Well, officially. So I do want to make a formal channel announcement. From this weekly roundup video today onward, from now on, the word podcast will be in the title of those videos. And the reason it will be is because 95% of the time, with the odd exception like today, as you can see so far, when you watch a weekly roundup podcast of mine or video, you see a black screen like this to indicate that, hey, this is literally a podcast. So because basically I've been doing these in a podcast format for the past 13 months, I thought, you know what? To make things a little bit easier, especially for new viewers, I'm going to put the word podcast in so everybody knows that, hey, this is a podcast style video. The only exceptions to that is either if I say there's going to be a visual element in a video, which I did do once, and with the exception, and there is another exception, like a weekly roundup I did recently, the first one to ever break 100 views, in fact, and this one here today. So moving forward, starting today, it's a permanent change. Whenever I do a weekly roundup video, for as long as I continue to make them, the word podcast will now be included in the title. And it will be included in the title of videos like this because even though you do have a visual, something to look at throughout the duration of this video, thanks to my jersey backdrop there, basically it's going to be a case where you're staring at these jerseys for the entire video while I talk. So it's still a podcast, except it's a podcast with some type of visual element. You get what I mean. But anyway, speaking of these jerseys today, this week I've decided to do a special jersey backdrop. The Edmonton Oilers jersey you see here is a tribute to Walter Gretzky, who passed away, I believe, on Thursday. And since this is the only CFL jersey I have other than my blank Stampeders jersey, I wanted to use a CFL jersey as a tribute because former TSN analyst Chris Schultz passed away this past weekend as well. And my BC Lions jersey here is my tribute to Chris Schultz for this video. And my Oilers jersey here is obviously a tribute to Walter Gretzky, as you see here. So that's why I have the Oilers jersey and the BC Lions jersey here as the backdrop for today's video. So, you know, to hear that Chris Schultz suddenly, with a snap of a finger, passed away from a heart attack at the age of 61, I must say that is really a tragic loss. I mean, 61 is still, I still consider early to mid 60s to be middle-aged, you know. I honestly think that, you know, dying in your 60s is still dying too soon. I mean, I would say that with anybody, but, you know, I really feel bad for his family, and the fact that he died in his early 60s, that's just awful. I mean, he was a great analyst on TSN, and I really enjoyed his commentary, and I must say, that was really, really sad news to hear that he passed away only at 61. That's a shame. And as for Walter Gretzky, you know, he lived to be, I believe, 82. And, you know, the fact that he was able to live that long, especially with the numerous health issues he's had over the years, that's incredible. And the fact that he's been able to live for an additional 30 years since, I believe, 1991, when he suffered, I think, a stroke or a brain aneurysm. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But, you know, the fact that he was able to live an extra 30 years, the amount of good he's done for the hockey world, the fact that he is the father of the greatest hockey player of all time, Wayne Gretzky, you know, he is a big loss too, a really big loss. Both of these men, you know, it's a shame that they're both gone. It really is. And I just want to take a moment here today to, you know, acknowledge both of them. They were both great people, and they're both gone. Both of them, in my opinion, were gone too soon. And may both rest in peace. And I wanted to make sure that I did a special jersey backdrop as a tribute to Chris Schultz and Walter Gretzky in today's video. So, you know, that's definitely been a bummer over the past few days, I must say. I really feel for both families. I really do. My heart goes out to both of them. So I want to now move on and discuss some reverse retro uniforms that I have seen in the past little while. I did see the Devils reverse retro for the first time, and you know what? If they wanted to have that as their first ever third jersey in franchise history, I think it would be a decent choice. It actually doesn't look too bad. And I actually hope that they will keep it around at least for another season or two. You know, if they had that on top of their heritage throwback, I think that would be a really, really nice choice. You know, but the Devils, I have to say, not only do I hope that they keep their reverse retro uniform around as a third jersey for a year or two at least, or another season or two, I mean, you know, for the love of God, why don't the Devils just go back to their Stanley Cup winning uniforms? Why did they ever change them? You know, every time I see the Devils wearing their new home and away uniforms on the ice, every time I say to myself, are you kidding me? Why did you do this? Their Stanley Cup winning uniforms that actually had proper waist striping and nice arm striping too, way better than the new ones, new arm stripes that are oversized in my opinion. You know, the thing is with the Devils, you know, their old uniforms that were retired at the end of the Reebok era when Adidas came in, not only do their new uniforms look like a product of the 2007 Reebok Edge rollout, but you know what else? The Devils' old uniforms had such a nice, simple look to them. They were a classic look. And even, you know, before I used to think the red and green was better, to be honest, but I've had a total 180 on my opinion on that. I think that those pre-Adidas uniforms are the best uniforms the Devils have ever had, and some of the absolute prettiest in the NHL. They were really, really good uniforms. They were great, in fact. And I just hope the Devils right that wrong. You know, it's great that they've got that white throwback. It's beautiful. And it's hopefully they're going to keep the green reverse retro around as a third. But New Jersey needs to fix their damn home and away jerseys. I mean, it's been one of the most frustrating uniform changes of the Adidas era. You know, at least Nashville, although their away jersey is nothing special, at least their new away jersey didn't replace one of the nicest away jerseys in the NHL. I mean, Nashville's pre-Adidas Stanley Cup run away jersey is definitely better than their new one, with the exception of that yellow shoulder yoke. I do think that is the only thing about their new away uniform that I actually like. I like that it has lots of yellow on it. But the problem is the navy stripes on it are way too thin. And you know what? I actually don't think their away jersey is the worst in the NHL right now. And unlike New Jersey, at least they actually have some type of waist striping on both of their home and away jerseys. I mean, for me, the most frustrating uniform change in the Adidas era has actually been the Oilers going to orange and navy. I mean, I know there's at least one or two of you who do prefer the Oilers in orange, and I respect your opinion, but honestly, I disagree. For me, I completely disagree. After being a blue team, whether it's been royal blue or in the mid to late 90s throughout the 2000s being a navy blue team with copper and red, you know, the thing is that with Edmonton, they've always been a blue team, whether it's royal or navy blue. And now all of a sudden, after basically 40 years, you change to orange. And especially after having the greatest player of all time, Wayne Gretzky, play on your team, win 4 Stanley Cups, and also a 5th Stanley Cup was won back in 1990, wearing the royal blue and orange, I'm sorry, the Oilers should never be an orange team first. If they want to do an orange jersey as an alternate, I think that's great. But anything more than that is way too much. The Oilers should always be a blue and orange team, not an orange and blue. Blue, then orange, like this jersey here. And by the way, I do think their current away jersey looks great too. But if I had my way, at the bare minimum, if the Oilers want to keep the navy blue and orange scheme that they've got now, at least have the home uniform be a navy blue flip of the home uniform that they've got now, at the bare minimum. But honestly, if I had my way, the Oilers would go back to royal blue. And so they should be going back to royal blue. I can't believe that after going back to it in 2011, they decided, oh, we're going to go to orange and navy because we've got Connor McDavid and we can make some jersey sales. You know what? Their current home uniform would be fine as a third. But anything more than that, like they've done, is too much in my opinion. It really is too much. Also, I did get a chance to see the Islanders reverse retro. I actually think it looks pretty decent. Now, I understand there's a lot of people that wanted to finally see something with the Gorton's Fishermen. I'm glad they didn't. I know I'm probably in the super minority on that, but you know, I really respect the Islanders and Lou Lamoriello for saying, hey, we're not going to bring back the worst design in our team's history. We're going to take our uniforms, do a navy blue version, and flip the stripes and give you a navy blue jersey with the striping flipped. You know what? I'll take that over a new Gorton's Fisherman design any day. I mean, do I agree with people that the Islanders could have done more? Yeah. I mean, I actually think it would have been nice to at least have seen the Islanders doing an orange jersey. I think an orange jersey, and they could have even replaced the royal blue with navy blue for an orange reverse retro jersey. I think that would have definitely made it a little better. I think it would have been nice to see the Islanders do another orange jersey again. But I must say, I saw the navy blue jersey on the weekend. And by the way, I thought it looked absolutely terrific against the Buffalo Sabres' new away uniform. It was a real nice look. in my personal opinion. It was really good. And, you know, I know most people will disagree, but, you know, I really respect the Islanders for saying, hey, we are going to stick with our classic look. We'll give you something new, but we're not going to mess with it too much. And, you know, the thing is that I actually think it's a shame that Lou Lamoriello wasn't in Montreal with their reverse retro, because if he had his say on the Canadiens reverse retro, I think that instead of a flipped blue jersey, we would have actually got a decent throwback or a slightly altered throwback to accommodate this reverse retro program. And I would have rather seen that. I mean, I'm happy for the people who wanted to see the Canadiens do something new, but in my opinion, you know, I just don't think the Habs should be doing a blue jersey. Sorry. To me, you should respect your heritage when you are probably the most iconic hockey team in the entire world. That's just how I feel. And I know not everybody's going to agree, but that's how I feel. Any other reverse retros I've seen? Well, it's not a reverse retro, but I did see the Canucks break out their third jersey for the first time in a while. And man, I must say, it sucks. The green bleeds with the royal blue completely. It looks half finished. It looks like it's missing something. And I know what it's missing. It's missing some white accenting in the striping. You know, at least back in the early 70s when the Canucks first joined the NHL, they had a little thin white stripe between those green stripes to add some brightness. And they had some white V's on the arms. They had a white V on each arm like the original white jersey had. You know, the Canucks needed to do something more with that. And, you know, speaking of third jerseys or alternate jerseys, I would, if I had to pick between keeping that jersey and going to the reverse retro as a third jersey, I would pick the reverse retro, and I wouldn't even have to think twice on that. The Canucks reverse retro is 10 times better than their current third, and I don't like the Orca. I mean, at least the Orca logo actually suits that jersey, unlike their current home and away jerseys, which look like some beer league team needed to buy some generic jerseys to slap their crest on. That's what they look like to me. I mean, obviously, I know even that. People aren't going to all agree on it, but that's how I feel. So I do want to take a moment here to acknowledge the leaks that I've seen from sportslogos.net. The 49ers are actually bringing out the red flip of their white 94 throwback for next season. I can't wait to see that on the field. That's going to look great. The Browns are doing a 1945 throwback, I believe. And it's basically their away jersey, except the numbers are classic block font with an orange drop shadow and classic block font for the player names on the back with a 1945 patch on the front. But something interesting, though, Chris Creamer of sportslogos.net, was it him or was it one of his writers? I can't remember. It might have been that one writer. I think his name's Andrew Lind, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, whoever wrote that article on sportslogos.net said that they were wondering if maybe this means maybe potentially we could be seeing the Browns bringing out a special helmet, a white throwback helmet to wear with that uniform, which I think would be nice. So that's an interesting question, because I have done a video on it in the past, and the question has been asked. Is it possible that the NFL is getting ready to finally lift their one helmet rule? Honestly, I would be ecstatic if they did. Honestly, I don't think they should have ever brought that rule in back 8 years ago in 2013. You know, I honestly, I think that the NFL's been missing out on a lot of jersey sales and a lot of throwback popularity. And I actually think teams being allowed to wear a second helmet so they can wear throwback uniforms again would be a bigger jersey sales bonanza than the Color Rash program. Oh, did I say Color Rash? I did mean that, but I know it's Color Rush. Sorry, I couldn't resist. But yeah, you know, the Color Rush jerseys have been a good seller for the NFL. I know that for a fact, but I believe there are a lot of throwback uniforms that would sell a lot better than quite a few of the Color Rush jerseys that we've seen throughout the past 6 or so years. So I think the NFL is definitely missing out on a lot of potential revenue on that. And considering that they've had to close off their stadiums to fans throughout the season, where at the most they were allowed to have some teams playing in limited capacity crowds, like what we saw with the Super Bowl this year. You know, if they allowed teams to start wearing throwbacks again, those jersey sales probably wouldn't make up for the void, but they would probably help with some of the profit loss, even just a little bit, that they've experienced this past season with the pandemic. So I think the NFL's been making a big mistake with this one helmet rule. And, you know, I mean, if it is actually helping players not get head injuries and reducing their injuries because of them keeping one helmet all year round, that's great. But in my personal opinion, looking at the injuries players get and the amount of head area trauma they get game in and game out, in my opinion at least, I could be wrong, I just don't think that having one helmet versus 2 or 3 is going to make a difference. I mean, if it did make a big difference, which I hope it has, considering the NFL's had a one helmet rule for the past 8 years, why is it that there are college football teams that have worn numerous helmets in that time span? Even in the CFL, teams have had multiple helmets throughout the past 8 years. So, you know, I'm a little bit skeptical whether that rule has actually helped on that front or not. But I do think that, you know, personally, I think it's time for the NFL to get rid of the one helmet rule. And if the Browns are doing a 45 throwback next season, which they are, you know, I do think it would be even better if they were allowed to wear an era-accurate white helmet. That would be nice. Also, so I talked about the 49ers as well. You know, I actually think it would be nice if I almost called them the Chargers, my bad. If the 49ers would just take those jerseys and switch out their current home and away jerseys for those jerseys, leave the rest of the uniform alone. I actually think that would be nice. And if they wanted to wear the white pants once in a while with their home and away jerseys from the 1994 throwbacks, if they went to those full time, no problem. But, you know, I wonder, are the 49ers going to wear the red throwback and the white throwback next year? Or are they going to just wear the red? Or is this a sign of something in the works, like a uniform change? Personally, I love the drop shadow numbers. I think they actually are one extra detail that actually adds to the uniform. And I also like the fact that they've got 3 stripes on the sleeves, unlike their current home and away jerseys, which in recent years they've cut them down to just a pair of stripes on each sleeve due to the more form-fitting Nike jersey templates that we've seen since they've taken over the NFL's jersey contract 9 years ago. So finally, also, there is the Cincinnati Bengals, where their home and alternate jerseys were leaked. I have a feeling that if they aren't doing monochrome all the time, that these new uniforms will probably be a little bit better, but they're not as good as I was hoping. I was hoping that, you know, we would have seen them go in a more throwback route rather than this more cleaned up, modern, more traditional-ish style that's still relatively modern. I mean, so far, my initial thoughts on them based on the leak is that we're probably going to be getting ready to be bracing ourselves for a whole lot of monochrome, just like what the Falcons and the Rams have been doing this past season. And honestly, if that's the case, I'm not a fan. But so far, based on just the jersey leaks themselves, I do like that the jerseys are more cleaned up than their current jerseys. They definitely need to clean them up. So the jerseys, I do like the simple design better than the old design. But the thing is, especially with the black jersey, I feel that they needed to include some white striping with those orange tiger stripes and some white striping with the orange jerseys, tiger stripes on the shoulder area. Something just to add that little extra bit of pizzazz there. It's a little bit too dull for me, but I like the fact that they're cleaner. They don't have the side paneling of the 2000s, so it's a step in the right direction, but I still have to see the entire uniforms unveiled before I can make a full opinion on them, of course. But so far, I do think it does look like they are going to be a slight improvement. I do think these jerseys that have been leaked are slightly better than what they're replacing. So that's a step in the right direction, eh? So it's better than a downgrade, especially with how bad the Bengals jerseys have been since the mid-2000s. Well, obviously that's my opinion, because I know there are some viewers that have told me they actually found that their current uniforms that are soon to be retired are actually not bad. So obviously, we all have different opinions on that, but I must say, I do think that I do like the Bengals' new jerseys so far better than the ones they're replacing. So there's that. But I don't think they're going to be enough of an upgrade for me. They already aren't. So I'm a little bit disappointed by that, but I'm at least happy to see that they do look like they are going to be an improvement over what they've been wearing. And I'll take that over a downgrade like what the Rams have done any day. But anyways, you guys, I'm going to call it a wrap on this video. If you've got anything you want to mention in the comment section down below, please feel free to do so. And until my next video, you guys, as always, take care. And as usual, bye for now.